Sophia Osmond. Thanks so much for joining me again today. To begin my presentation, please direct your attention to the screen. Now, this is just a funny meme to illustrate the seriousness of my topic today, which is genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, as they're most commonly known. If you are what you eat, how would you like to be genetically modified? What about your children? Would you like your children to be genetically modified? I don't think so. Now, GMOs have been cropping up on the market for about 2 decades. That's 20 years. And it seems that despite all of the efforts of the anti-GMO websites and protests and petitions and worldwide rallies, that's a tongue twister, nothing has changed. And it's up to us to take matters into our own hands and keep America free of these harmful substances. Although many argue that genetically modified foods are actually helping to save our planet due to faster crop production, evidence shows that we are in fact destroying it. What's even worse is that it's not required anymore for companies to label if their foods are genetically modified. There are 64 countries around the world that already have significant restrictions or outright bans against GMOs, simply because they are not safe for human consumption. We have quite literally bitten off more than we can chew with chemical engineering in the agricultural arena. Monsanto is one of the largest GMO producing as well as profit producing companies. The global protest March for World Food was set for October 12th, just 4 days before World Food Day on the 16th, and let's just say Monsanto received a lot of unwanted negative attention. 50 countries around the world, in fact, took part in the protest against GMOs, 500 cities total. 47 states in the U.S., that is almost the entire nation, they were involved with the rallies. And the U.S. is the largest producer of GMOs in the world, so that's a great thing that 47 out of the 50 states were being proactive about this issue. So why are we allowing this to happen in the United States? There's a research study that shows Americans eat GMOs every single day. Such a sad statistic. That's the thing, is you could go to the restaurant and you could order pasta, and that tomato sauce on your pasta could be made with genetically modified tomatoes, and we would have no idea. In fact, maybe the restaurant doesn't even have any idea because there's no way of knowing that they are genetically modified. And what are we putting in our bodies? Isn't that what America is built on, is the freedom to choose for ourselves? And I want to choose what I put into my body, don't you? So how on earth are we supposed to decide for ourselves and choose for ourselves if we don't have enough information to do so? There are about 30,000 GMOs in the grocery store available now. 30,000. In various things such as cereals, especially cereals, as well as vegetables and fruits. But that's what surprised me the most, was these cereal companies that didn't used to contain genetically modified corn now do because it's a lot cheaper. Back in 2011, almost 3 years ago, 90% of soybean and corn production was already genetically modified. These frightening statistics prove to us as consumers that although action has been taken in the past, it apparently hasn't been enough, and we need to continue our efforts and be proactive about the future of our own health, as well as the future of America's health as a whole. Okay, so here's another funny thing for you to look at. A lot of this started back in 2002 when the Fast Track bill was passed. Many products containing GMOs, frankenfoods as they called them, were available in store now. The horrible thing about the Fast Track bill is that it creates special rules for considering trade agreements by allowing the executive branch to sign an agreement before Congress even votes on it. In fact, Congress only has 90 days to vote on the trade deal. So in other words, ingredients such as genetically modified corn, as we talked about before, are finding their way into our favorite cereals that didn't used to have them. No, although this political cartoon is meant to poke fun at Monsanto, it does, however, present some frightening realities that may lie ahead of us. Personally, I thought we crossed the line a long time ago, but recent findings of GMOs in baby formula just seems like an all-time low.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Start them out young, I guess. Like, how scary is that to think that our rising generation is being fed genetically mutated vegetables and fruits, which in turn could affect their genetic makeup as they mature into adulthood. Alright, so here's the picture you've all been waiting for. Scientists found that experimentations also led to premature death in these rats, as well as infertility problems. The rats that were able to have children, the scientists still found genetic poisoning 4 generations later. So if it's true for them, why would it not be true for us? So how does this apply to you? A better question would be, how does this not apply to all of us? Do we know what we're eating? Do we know how it's impacting our bodies? We've seen experiments. We know the results. How is this going to influence the way our children behave in the future? How does this influence the way our grandchildren are going to grow up living? In closing, it's up to us as citizens of the United States of America to voice our opinion. We have 2 options. We can either take control and stand up for real food, or we can be subject to eating poison against our free will. And like we said before, isn't that what America is built on? It's built on free will, the ability for citizens to choose and act for themselves. Genetically modified foods are a huge problem on a global scale. So let's not take lightly the issue of our future health for the sake of Monsanto's profit margin, or any other company for that matter. Genetically modified foods are not the future, they are the destruction thereof. Thank you.